How's it going? Can I buy PZ GSH from him? That feels like a prapor thing to me. Tiger Cub, it feels like the day might be getting worse and worse for you. I don't know about better and better, but I appreciate it.
Grown5 just resubbed for 38 months. Hi, Flax. Best of luck today.
Thank you. God, it's hot. God, it's hot. It's fair enough, Punter, honestly. I mean, it's too hot. That's all there is to it. It's too hot for us Brits. We're not used to it. Oh my god. Nigel Farage is going to be on GB News. Is that true, Lloyd? Good heavens! I've heard it referred to as GBBs, which I think is quite funny. What have they done to my beloved drop room? Welsh Paw Patrol. What I want to know is, right, what's wrong with British Paw Patrol, eh? Why they got their own version? See, the reason that joke works is because it's not even a British show. It's an American show. When we went to America, we discovered that. Also, it implies that Wales isn't also in Britain. Yeah, it is incredible, the double standard of saying we are, you know, the woke media. You can't say anything. We're the remedy, and then someone does something, they're like, no, not that kind of free speech. Oh. The gas hand. Is it Canadian, is it? I'll tell you what it is. Fucking shit. Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol. It doesn't even make sense. It's a terrible show. I had to watch it when my kids were much younger. Fucking miserable pile of shite. Good Lord Almighty. What a slaughter. Whoops. We did alright there, eh? We got our gas analyzer. Killed a lad that tried to surprise kill us. Got out with some decent stuff. Wasn't able to loot too much. But I think, yeah, 3 of 6 key.
Dom_the_Slav just resubbed for 6 months. Regem.
Bless you. I've got a song stuck in my head. Bring your daughter to the slaughter. Let her go. Let her go, let her go. Bring your daughter to the slaughter. 4 tags for the tag case. I'm sure we need one of those. Like, as a father now, horrendous song. Horrendous.
M1_May0 just resubbed for 7 months. Happy Saturday, yep. I'm melting, yep.
Yep.
Mt996 just resubbed for 9 months.
I didn't know there was a new Iron Maiden song. I'm a fan of their older stuff. I don't know if they're still releasing music. It's not for me anymore, I don't think. Like, their older stuff I still love. But, I feel like... Here's the weird thing about some bands, right? Some bands come out, their first album is amazing. It's like almost a game changer. But then that's all they do. Keep making basically the same music forever. And I lose interest in them. Now, I'm no Beatles fan. For anyone who listens to the Triforce podcast, some of them's alright. People lose their minds about the Beatles. I'm going to be honest with you. I've heard everything they've done so many times at this point. It was such a big part of me growing up. I'm just sick of hearing it. Do you know what I mean? Some bands have a sound, and they do that for like 20, 30 years, and people still love it. And that's great. Iron Maiden is one of those bands who, they didn't really change their sound from the early days till their, what was their heyday by their standards, or they never really had a heyday, thanks to the mainstream media keeping them down. But essentially, you know what you're going to get with Iron Maiden. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get Iron Maiden. It's going to be Iron Maiden. It's going to sound like Iron Maiden. You're going to recognize it. Oh my god, dude, you scared the hell out of me.
Just resubbed for 5 months.
So I think when it comes to new stuff from Iron Maiden, I'm not as interested, because I've kind of done that. You know what I mean? Like, I've listened to all of their stuff many times over that I liked, and it's enough for me to listen to Run to the Hills and stuff like that. But there are some bands. I was trying to think of an example because I was talking to Mrs. F about this. Let's take The Strokes. So The Strokes' first album, Is This It?, came out, and this was in the early 2000s. I'd moved up to London, hadn't heard anything like this before in my life. I was like, holy shit, this is unbelievable. Like, it wasn't a brand new sound. Like, this was like But it sounded fresh at the time, and it was like, oh my god, this is the best. And we saw them a couple of times when they played in London, and I just thought, this is great. Like, this is really cool new music. And they were called The Strokes. No word of a lie. There were like 50 bands over the next couple of years called The Something, who were trying to copy their sound. They were very, very influential. The problem with The Strokes is, that's all they could do. They never changed as a band. Their sound was the same from their first album to their last album, and it just lost its flavor. Like, it's like, what else have you got? Like, we've heard this. This is like a not as good version of the first album. They're going to do the second album and the third album, and they're going to sound like a not as good version of the stuff that we've already heard and loved. If you listen to the Beatles, and again, as I've said, not a massive fan, not a big Beatles nut, but if you listen to how much their sound changed over their career, you could tell that they were actual musicians, that they were growing musically, that they were changing, that they were trying new things. And I've got to take my hat off to them, because the early albums of the Beatles and the later albums of the Beatles are night and day. And for the time, the stuff they did was genuinely like, people hadn't heard this before. If you listen to Sgt. Pepper, the whole album, you think this is like a concept album from the biggest band in the world. That would be like unheard of. The idea of having a band as big as the Beatles do what was essentially a concept album that had all this weird stuff that went everywhere, like all kinds of experimental sounds and stuff like that for the time that it came out. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, you've got to acknowledge just how big a gamble they took. And I think that's one of the reasons that they're seen as like a legendary band. It's because their sound never got stale. The only reason I'm sick of it is because I've heard it so much that I've just had, that's it, I'm Beatles'd out. Like, I don't want any more. I can't do it again. I can't listen to the Beatles for the millionth time. Queens of the Stone Age, oh my god. Songs for the Deaf is one of my... I honestly, hand on heart, think it's one of the best rock albums of all time. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's so good. So many great tracks. And it has a concept, but it's a simple one that isn't annoying or anything. It's just... This is like, with, you know, the radio station thing between the songs, but it just flows together so nicely. What an album, man. What an album. I loved it. And I was like, rock isn't dead. Rock is here, man. That's it. But then that was pretty much it. I mean, Foo Fighters is like the most gentle dad rock ever and always has been. I love Dave Grohl, and they're a nice band and everything, but it doesn't do anything for me. Like, it doesn't move me at all. Their stuff is like... It's old man shit, you know what I mean? It always was. It was nice, but that's about the nicest thing I can say about it. It's like, it's inoffensive, but it's certainly not hype. Not like Run to the Hills. Run to the hills. Run for your life. Yeah, they did all that in 10 years. Crazy. 10 years. Hop! God damn, it's just... They sometimes get some lads fighting around here. I've done a bit of a hoover. No evidence of lads anywhere. Been to all the likely spots. So, one of my current favourite bands is Everything Everything, who I love. I think they're brilliant. And there is a definite change in their sound, album to album. 10 years is not that long for a band that was the biggest band probably of all time. Like, you're probably never going to get a band that's as influential and well known as the Beatles again, because of the way music works now, I think, and the rapid burnout of artists nowadays tied to record labels, the demand for more, and like now, album a year, that kind of deal. The Beatles, I don't know what kind of record deal they had, but they seem to be able to do whatever the flip they wanted. Is any of this worth nicking? How do I kill myself? How do I kill myself? I want out. I don't want to run to the scav extract, I just want to go. I guess we're going to have to. What do we got? Scav camp is right over here, right? So I don't have a grenade. I don't have a grenade. I don't want to disconnect. May as well just leave. Why do you think someone's going to kill me at Scav camp? I don't actually know where this exit is. It should be like up this way, right?
Oh wow, they just resubbed for 3 months.
Thank you. Hello. Anyone know where the extract is? Should be like right here. Under the container suspended by the crane? Oh, right, yeah, there's a break in the wall. Okay, I got you. Thank you. Oh, we can see the map. See, now one day that'll be woods or something. Oh, you need to be with a PMC? Oh.
Ты чё там пиздишь? Шала.
Oh, we just get railway, I guess. I mean, if I just disconnect, that's it, right? Like... Okay, alright, cool. Gotcha. I've never used a PMC exit, so... Like an exit where you need a PMC. It's never come up. Unsurprisingly. So yeah, when I think about bands that are like... For example, I'm a big fan of Pixies, right? And their sound changed a little bit over their albums. It got a bit more... It got a bit less like hard, and sort of got a bit more, slightly more experimental for the Pixies, but it wasn't like crazy out there stuff. And they had like what, 4 albums, I think, Pixies, maybe 3, and then then the comeback and everything, but it's not the same. And I love them, and the albums they put out were fantastic. But I think for that real longevity, you either need to have a sound that people can't get elsewhere, like Iron Maiden, and commit to it, and no one else is still doing what you're doing, and you were really good at it. Like Rush, for example, had a crazy good sound that nobody else really replicated. People tried and were influenced, but no one sounds quite like Rush. And their fans will follow them like everywhere. There's a really good documentary about Rush that I saw a while ago. I've been a fan of them for ages, but they're like, you just don't get bands like that anymore. Do you know what I mean? You just don't get bands like that anymore. I wonder when it changed, when people just stopped listening to, and I mean like en masse, listening to new guitar-based music, and it literally, I think it must have been, because in the 90s that was the birth of like, well, the 80s was the birth of dance music, but as a mass media, that in the 90s was when dance music was everywhere, and raves and clubs and everything were like a huge thing, ecstasy and all the rest of it. I mean, it started off in the 80s in places like Chicago and places like that with house music, but I mean, the time that like dance music really started to surge was the 90s, and it was big, and hip hop was big. And then in the 2000s, early 2000s, you had this indie revival, post Britpop. It was not Britpoppy. It was like proper indie music. 2000s, and then it's just like there's still indie bands out there, but nowadays it seems that all people listen to, from what I can tell, what's generally popular, dance music, R&B, hip hop. You very rarely hear new bands that have a guitar-based band. Where is that now in 2021? Where is the public desire for it? It seems to have evaporated. All these kids that like that are still listening to Iron Maiden and shit like that, like the old stuff. It's just, I just want to know where that changeover happened. I mean, there's still a metal scene and all the rest of it, but it's not like it was. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it was where, I mean, U2 were like a huge band, right? They're like a rock band. Guitar-based rock music. Where's the next U2 or any of these bands that were huge and guitar-based? It doesn't seem to happen. I mean, Kings of Leon seemed to be very popular for a while. They were guitar-based. They were very big. But they're like few and far between. I feel like when I was growing up, there was tons and tons and tons of guitar-based bands. It just feels like it's not a thing that people listen to anymore. Like new. They listen to the old stuff, but they're not listening to the new stuff. Just kind of, I don't know what went wrong. There are still many guitar-based artists and bands. You're not listening to what I'm saying, Trinity Zero, mate. I already said that. I listen to those bands. My point is, those big stadium bands are a thing of the past. Muse started out early 2000s. Tame Impala are not U2. They're never going to be that big. U2 were huge. I'm saying, where is that? Where is our replacement for that? Where is the next level? Where is the 2021 answer to that? That's what I'm saying. You're literally, you guys are making my point for me, listing old bands. The guys in Muse are probably my age. I'm saying I want to see guys that are in their early 20s having a guitar-based renaissance where these bands are huge and people love it. Where is it? Yeah, 100%. But Arctic Monkeys, when did their first album come out? 10 years ago? More? 2002 they formed. Just want to know, where's the next gen, man? You know what I mean? All I'm saying is, I see You see YouTube footage of these gigs like AC/DC and Iron Maiden. There's all these young people there, and I'm thinking, where's the next generation? You guys can't live off these old farts forever. A lad. That's a very rapidly firing weapon. Yes! Oh, damn. Oh, baby, you got what I need. And you say he's just a friend. And you say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you got what I need. Yeah, I haven't got much ammo. Don't need much ammo, son. His Marky died, man. He died. He died like today or yesterday, one of the two.
Speedplay just resubbed for 51 months.
Thank you.
Cheers for the content, Flax man.
Cheers for watching. Is Munt doting? Oh, I need one of those. If Munt wants to dotes, I'll dotes. If he asks me. If he pops up in chat, I'll zip off and dotes. But he's not gonna, because they're in a stack. I don't believe it's harder to break through nowadays than it was in the past. I think that's ridiculous. The only way to get promoted in the past was on radio, or to have a record company pick you up. The avenue to being noticed is so much easier nowadays, surely. I mean, you can't say there's more music nowadays than there was in the past. There's always been shitloads of music. It's easier to get noticed without needing anyone else to gatekeep. You don't have to go through a record label. Knew I heard something. Shit. What do you mean they're the wrong caliber? Wait, this ammo... Oh shit, they are. Oh, I put the wrong ones in. Oh well, we just better hope we don't bump into anybody. Better take a backup piece. We'll just be leaving right about now. Yeah, I picked up the wrong mags. Oh shit! Oh, my man was right here! Damn, the door was still opening! How's the workouts help my heart? The operation helped my heart, the procedure, not the, if I'd done this before I had it, I think I would have been in trouble, but, I don't think you could hear me over the sound of the door. You can't hear anything. But yeah, it's helped with my anxiety, I'll tell you that much, because now I just feel like it's so much less likely to happen that it just doesn't pop up in my mind the way it did constantly before, where I was just thinking all the time, oh shit, you know, at any second I'm gonna have an attack or whatever.
Jeff just resubbed for 5 months. Regem.
This is quite a fancy scope, isn't it? A hammer. Now, who wanted... I want to say it was Skier. No. Mechanic? Did you want no? Ragman, my boy. No? Yeah. This is just death. It's just all the times I've died. Here are the 100 best rock bands of the 90s. These are just the top 8. Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Green Day, Radiohead, Pearl Jam, REM, Foo Fighters. What I'm saying is, people, that when I was a teenager, those were the big ones. All those guitar-based bands, you know what I mean? And what I'm saying is, for the kids these days, I'm sure the ones who are still into guitar-based music are still into guitar-based music, still into rock, still into metal, still into all that stuff, but they're not in the public conscience the way that those bands were. REM were huge. They weren't just, it wasn't just, you know, I mean, U2, like I keep going back to, Red Hot Chili Peppers, all these bands, they were massive. Everybody knew these bands. Nowadays, I bet you could ask a bunch of people about these bands that you guys keep mentioning. I mean, I bet I could name my favorite rock bands that are around now, and people would say, never heard of them. So when did the public appetite for it die, and why? Because it spoke to people for decades and decades. It must still be there. What changed? What changed? Is it just that the music industry stopped? Do you think it's the music industry saying, nah, people aren't into that, and just not giving these bands a chance, or what? Could be. Tempted to say it is, because, you know, it's the music industry, isn't it? They're arseholes. That looked like I'd walked in on an orgy. Whoa! Whoa! Right. I understand that, you know, there are trends and everything, but all I'm saying is it seems to have been that way for some time. And normally things happen in waves. So is there going to be a generation of kids coming through who are going to be crying out for these big, you know, guitar-based bands and rock? Are they going to be into that? Or is it just dead? That's it. It's never coming back, and it's always going to be a classical music. And it's just now all we've got forever is dance music or some variation of it. I just wonder. Because I know that, I think it's Neil Tennant of the Pet Shop Boys used to write for a magazine in the UK called Smash Hits, which if you grew up in the 80s was a big thing. I wasn't into pop music in the 80s, so it wasn't a big deal for me. But if you were into pop music, that was your thing, right? And he then went on to be the lead singer of the Pet Shop Boys. And I listened to an interview with him a while back. He was talking about what it was like being, you know, at Smash Hits and everything. And he saw it as a battleground between pop and rock. And he said, and we won. Like, in his mind, pop music won. And he hated rock music, he wanted it to die. And he was like, he couldn't say anything good about it. He hated rock. Anything to do with rock music, he was like, had to go. Pop music won, we won, we won. Like, he was super triumphalist, and he's right. But I'm just interested, because he's right, they did win. But what changed? What changed? I saw Snoop Dogg, a YouTube clip of him the other day, talking about how every rapper these days sounds the same. And I was listening to some music today, and happened to have some rapping in it, and I remember thinking, you know, he's kind of right. Like, there's a style that they've all settled on, and I think it's because it's been industried, like, pipelined so much that what was once, like, hip-hop and stuff like that was 100% from the streets, and it was like a fresh sound, and it was the people that did it just loved it, and it was like a thing that they were driven to do, and it was like from absolutely nowhere they invented this new genre, just like dance music was the same deal. And now all these big companies have realized there's so much money, and they've just latched on and just sucking all of the soul out of it. I just think it's interesting, because young people are always going to react eventually to that. So eventually, when you've got kids growing up and that's what their parents listen to, they're just going to be like, ugh, we need Kanye now more than ever. Never a sentence I wanted to hear anybody say. There's a guy who's disappeared so far up his own arse. Who cares? I just think it's interesting. These things are all cyclical. The problem is, if you have old rappers criticizing young rappers, that doesn't make the old rappers look cool. It makes the young rappers look cool. Like, what do these granddads know? Am I right, kids? You know. Heretic, there are not that many radio stations in London that I can pick up on my car radio. There's BBC 1, 2, 3 and 4. Radio 1 just plays during the day, pretty bog standard whatever's in the charts music. Kiss FM, bangers. Capital, bangers. Like, that's it. It's just whatever the current pop dance music is, that's what they play. XFM used to play alternative music. Now it's just another mainstream channel. Radio's dead anyway. That's not where the music comes from. I think there were a couple of turning points for me. Alright, couple of turning points. First of all, MTV. If you look at musicians in the 50s, 60s, 70s, didn't have to be good looking. Didn't have to be good looking. They were just, if you could sing or you had a good song, congratulations, you're on the radio now. And then along came the videos, and everybody expected a good video. So you had to be at least decent looking. So that narrowed it down a bit, because a lot of people who are brilliant musicians, if you put a video with these people, and people can go, ugh, you either have to be exceptionally ugly and weird looking, in which case it's a novelty act, or you have to be good looking. So now if you look at all the pop stars now, especially now, they're all honed to within an inch of their life, very specific look and vibe, and whatever they've got is currently in fashion, that's them. No one's like striking out on their own, they're all just sort of toeing a line, I feel like. Elvis was a good looking guy. The Beatles were not particularly good looking. Look at them. Go look at a picture of the Beatles. They were not particularly good looking guys. Elvis was a good looking guy. But the Beatles were not particularly good looking guys. They're pretty average looking dudes. You think Billie Eilish is ugly? Post Malone. Girls seem to love Post Malone. You may not find him attractive. I mean, I'm not into this look, but he's always got women dripping off him, according to what I've seen on the internet. I just feel like... Where are the uggos? Maybe it's always been that way. Maybe there's always been acts that were, their whole thing was that they were dishy. In fact, think back to the 50s and 60s, that was definitely the case. Crooners, like those lads who could sort of sing. The main thing was they were good looking, you know. Time to rat. I don't know, Post Malone, like, to me, the tattoos on the face, the style, seems like a lot of other guys, or they're all copying him. See a lot of these guys with face tattoos now, that seems to be the thing. Looking like you've climbed out of a bin. That's the look. I'm waiting for someone to come in here.
Sweatcakes just resubbed for 1 month.
I mean, what's that lad's name, that comedian? Who was on Saturday Night Live. Not even funny. Dude's not even funny. Yeah, Tyler's out there, man. His name's like Steve or Barry or something like... Pete Davidson, yeah, Pete Davidson. Always seems to get all these girls. Looks like a complete piece of shit. He looks like someone that you'd see at a bus stop. I just don't get it. I don't see that his drip is good. You know what I mean? I don't see that he's got good drip. It looks like his drip is a little soggy to me. The bus stop boys. I thought it was a pull-out game. Make your pull-out game weak. In other words, you're not going to be able to pull out before you jizz. That was what I assumed the lyrics were to WAP. Make your pull-out game weak. Was it pull-up game? I thought it was pull-out game. Make that pull-out game weak, see? Ain't nobody coming. It is pull-out. Yes, I knew it was pull-out. So as soon as I heard it, I thought, I can well imagine. I thought WAP was great. I love that song. I'm sure Pete Davidson does have an enormous wang. I mean, but someone had to cross the Rubicon to discover that. So what I'm saying is, what attracted you to them initially, other than the fact that they're famous and I guess funny? I mean, it's just not my kind of humor because I'm too old. It's just not for me. I'm just worried about the kids out there staring at their guitars, thinking, when will our time come? And I don't think it's going to come back. I think that's it. I'm hoping when I'm an old man, there'll be a bunch of killer rock bands out there, and I'll be like, yes! Do you remember that lad that peeked out this door and killed us? I worked with a guy who had a massive dick one time, and he was the most unassuming. He was about 7 or 8 inches shorter than me, But he had a massive, massive dick. And I know this because whenever we were at the urinal, he was one of those people, when I'm having a pee at the urinal, especially the work urinal, with someone I don't even work with, he's just a guy that works in the same company. I'm having a pee, I just want to have a pee and wash my hands and get the fuck out. I don't want to talk. If I'm there with a mate, we might have a quick chat, but I just want to pee and get out. I don't want to talk to you in the toilet. I'm pissing. I'm having a pee. It's not a place to hang out. Women go and talk in the toilets. I know that. I don't do that. Most gents' toilets are silent as the grave. All you can hear is peeing and hand washing. That's it. He would look you in the eye. Yeah, mate, you alright? Yeah. Chat. And when you turn to look at someone, your peripheral vision extends up and down quite a bit, and you can't help but see that the man is holding what looks like a garden hose. And I'm thinking, that's why he wants to look you in the eye. So you have to turn to him to be polite. Otherwise you feel like you're hiding something.
John_Marston_Junior tip $13.37. Hey Flax, listening to you talk about getting in shape in the gym has motivated me into getting back into shape. So thanks for convincing this old solider I can still get fit.
Get in there. Do it, son. You spelled soldier wrong. That's how we know he was an actual soldier. Squaddies can't spell. Imagine a very big garden hose. What album of everything do you think I should start with? The first, Man Alive. Start with that. Start with it first and work your way up. Their first 3 albums are brilliant. Get to Heaven is probably their best, but Man Alive is a perfect album. Like it's brilliant. In fact, I'd say Man Alive is probably their best, because it's just, I hadn't heard anything like it in such a long time. And they're so good, like musically, they're so good. It takes a bit of getting used to the falsetto. I know some people are put off by the vocalist only sings in falsetto pretty much, which for some people is a problem. But it works with the music. I just love them. I absolutely love them. But yeah, this dude had a big old dick, and it's just, you know, I'm not complaining. I'm perfectly happy. Dick-wise, never had any complaints. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's not going to wow anybody. It's not going to embarrass me. It's just your bog standard dick. Like it's the dick you would expect a man my size to have. 6 foot dude is going to have a 6 foot dick, right? It's perfectly normal. It's a bog standard dick. I always wanted something that was like impressively big. You know what I mean? Like just a fucking hog, like huge. Something that people would be like, fucking hell, see the size of that guy's dick. Yeah, 6 foot dick. Nothing impressive, just your average 6 foot dick. So what I'm saying is I would love to have like a dick where you'd just be like, blam, and people are like, fuck. Like even dudes want to see it. You know what I mean? Like, fuck me, let me see that dick. That's so big. That's the kind of dick you want to have. Like something genuinely, legendarily impressive. However, I've spoken to a lot of women about dicks, and they all say the same thing. Oh no, you don't want one that big. No, it's uncomfortable, it's unpleasant. And I think we say that, but the video evidence that I've seen on the internet, a lot of it, video evidence on the internet, implies that they absolutely bloody love it. So you be the judge. After years of extensive research, I can confirm. But I don't know if women are trained in some academy somewhere that if a dude ever approaches you and says, how important is like a massive dick? Because if you've got a massive dick, presumably you already know the answer to that question. very important. Like, it's, you know, as good as it gets sort of thing. If you ask the question, you're clearly not in possession of an absolute Godzilla dick. You know what I mean? And they always say the same thing. Oh, no. It's how you use it. And I think that's the sort of excuse a man would make. It's how you use it, mate. I'm thinking, what are you doing differently? Realistically. What can you be doing with that thing? What, you've invented some new angle of approach? You're like a hotshot pilot with that thing? Come on. Don't give me that. I do think being really good in bed is probably much better than just having a big dick. I wonder how many big dick havers fall back on the whole big dick thing and don't try to improve their technique. Because why would you? It would be like being a point guard or whatever. You know, what's the big lad in basketball? The really tall lad. Doesn't need to have great technique. Being absolutely huge is what got him into the NBA. So if you've got an absolute King Kong cock, you don't need to go for technique. In your mind, you're thinking, what more do you need? It's as good as it gets. Look at the size of that thing. I think, evolutionarily speaking, it's interesting to me that men haven't evolved multi-cock. Like 4 or 5 of those things. You know what I mean? How many cocks do you have should be the question. Or how big it is. How many do you have? Because if you could satisfy multiple women at the same time and impregnate multiple women at the same time, you'd be much more successful. The question should not be how big, but how many. It's got to be angled, Margrave, and you just stack them up like a deck of cards. I hit another guy. Listen, would you have some faith in the system, please? I heard another one. Heard someone creeping and peeping. Nuts! He must be lit. I think that was a player scav as well. Wait, who did I die to? Did it say? Ah, damn, it was a player. It's unfortunate. Heard his little upstairs. I mean, obviously, it's possible. But what I'm saying is I don't want a cock that's split. I want, like, if you could imagine, rather than just have one groin, you've got like almost like a low-slung belt. You know what I mean? Like that. And you could impregnate a whole bunch of women at once. I'm just thinking, why hasn't that come up in evolutionary terms? Oddly enough, makes me think maybe God is real. Because for sure this would have happened. He's obviously keeping a rein on things. It's like, no. You guys will never do anything if that's the case. God. We'll go with pee-pee. And BP. And PS. PS, this ammo sucks. Oh, I remember what I've got to do now. I've got to kill that lad on customs, haven't I? Rashal or whatever his name is. Maybe an ancient ancestor was equipped in this way and they didn't have enough blood to support them using all at once and passed on it. Yeah, it's possible. It's more than possible.
Samson just resubbed for 3 months.
Thank you. Thank you for the raid, Montakus. Oh baby, you got what I need. You say she's just a friend, and you say he's just a friend. Oh baby, you. One leg in the middle and a dick on each side. I don't think that works. I mean, what good are these? Just replace all of these. Toes, fingers, forehead, elbows. Think how many you could do at once. Be amazing. A life form that is a penis and ballsack that only lives to ejaculate into something and die. You mean like Dildonians? Or maybe women weren't too keen on a man that will have fathered 10,000 children. Don't think they had much problem with it back in the day, I'm going to assume. Women haven't really been permitted to be too choosy for like 300,000 years. It's only very recently that we've come to the conclusion that actually that's not cool. Just think, how different would society be if the way we procreated was to release spores out of the top of our head once a year? Everybody did that. There was no family unit. Just like mushrooms. Think how bad advertising would be without the ability to sex sells. It wouldn't exist. Advertising would just be, here's the product, it does the following things, these are the issues with that product, and it can be purchased for this amount in the following locations. To be fair, I'd love it if that was advertising. I think Cicadas is longer than 7 years, isn't it? I thought it was like 17 years or something. Maybe it does vary, who knows? What a weird creature. I'm guessing there's a key for this.
Ты куда пошел?
Okay, it's nothing.
Служивый! Это наша точка!
Where are you? Wait, he didn't even die. Jesus. We're in the middle of some kind of a war zone. Shampoo. It's rubbing it in. Even the video game hates me. Third lad to my left.
Okay, we got bears.
What am I shooting here? "17 hits, 575 damage. We hit that other guy twice. We hit him over 10 times, and he's okay. Whatever, game. He must be rinsed, though, right? Like, he must be like... Well, friends, joke's on him. I have some shampoo. Who's laughing now? Actually, let's hold on to you. Same old bug. Oh, baby, you got what I need.
Algorithm just resubbed for 4 months. Glad to share 4 months with my favorite gym bro.
Hey. Kazauza. I don't think I even need shampoo for anything. Damn. Yet another Twitter hottie that I have to follow. Whew, that's a follow. That's a follow right there. Good God. These women are just walking around. Just out there. Extant in the world. Incredible. So, again, I've talked about this. I think I talked about this on Triforce. I've been to a lot of events in the past more than current day. I haven't been to an event since TI9, so 2 years more or less. So I don't know if that side of things is finished or whatever, but it was a good run for an old man who doesn't really know anything about anything really. So I'm not crying, I'm just, let me get on with things. Anyway, met a lot of extremely pretty girls out there, cosplayers, or they want to be hosts, or they want to be on the scene, or they're just hangers on of the Dota scene. They want to get a esports boyfriend, which is quite common. And they're like beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Some of the girls that you see on Instagram are essentially, this is just a few of them, they are like for hire by like rich guys. So if you're following a hot girl on Instagram and it's like backyard, 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 Dubai, no word about why she's in Dubai, invariably some Richie Rich has hired her for a couple of weeks. Was he shooting Adar? Either way, I think it was an Adar. Yeah. They make a lot of money. A lot of money. For like 2 weeks work. I just thought it was interesting. I'm so naive, it didn't even occur to me. I just thought, wow, they must make a lot of money off Instagram. Some of them do. The ones where you see them do this, where they sort of the video starts and they pop up. Then they get on with the video. You think, I mean, that's how a lot of TikTokers make their money as well, right? They get paid to flex a product at the start of the vid. Esports. Ooh. I think you're onto something. A little illegal, you know, you might get busted. I wouldn't want to be the guy that people know. If you're looking for a girlfriend, you know, go see PFlax. He's got a bunch of esports escorts on his books, because you'd probably get arrested, you know what I mean? How Fuel contacted me, not at all. Which, given that I would consider myself right in the middle of a key demographic for them. 45-year-old fat dad looking to get in shape. He started going to the gym a little bit. He's trying to get healthier. Boom. And I could tell you all about Huel and how I've, you know, honestly quite enjoyed it and all the rest of it. Not a peep. I even have a Huel emote on my channel. Nothing. Saw an article in a German newspaper today about German influencers returning from Dubai. It seems to coincide with our Ministry of Interior paying for data on tax evasion. Huh. You actually full. Do you mean like when I have fuel? If I don't generally eat much in the morning, but I'm also aware that it's not healthy to not eat So, especially if I'm gonna go to the gym or whatever, and I'm very lazy. So when it comes to eating, I'm not really ready to eat in the morning. So if I have a Huel and then like just a protein bar or something like that, I'm good. I can go to the gym and then I come back and I'm hungry. But until I've done anything, I mean, I don't get up at like 6:30 in the morning. If I got up at 6:30, I'm sure I'd be ready to eat by 7:30. But the problem is I tend to get up at 8 to do something at 9, and in that hour I'm not hungry at all. So I think Huel isn't good for me because I'm very lazy and it's very easy to make. Much easier to make than breakfast. I think like 4 or 5 minutes, Bob. Like 4 or 5 minutes. I only do one flavor. I do mint chocolate. It's pretty easy to hold train though. Like, you've only got 2 angles to watch really. You'll be alright, Bob. It's not a fixed amount. I think it varies, doesn't it? If it is, maybe it is fixed 7 minutes. I don't know, but I thought it was varied. Sometimes it seems to go pretty quick. Sometimes it seems to take forever. You'll be alright. No one ever fucking takes train. I've never ever had another player come and kill me on train. Ever. Actually, once. One time. But you have to be in the area, notice that it's leaving, get on it, wait there. Most dudes have left. You'll be grand. You're Bob. You're Bob. You'll kill them if they come. I think you should be able to pick up Tagilla's sledgehammer. And certain exits, you have to hammer them open with the sledgehammer to use them. I think that would be cool. shit in there? Wait. There are flashbang slugs for basic shotguns now? Because there was only one for the Chuck, the big one. Oh, he switched guns? So, are there any Yogs fans in the chat? Do you know did Boba move to the UK? She seems to want to stay. She said she's waiting for the Queen to tell her she can stay. Is she in Bristol? I'll get the chance to meet her. I know she's down in Bristol. I thought it was funny. She was tweeting. Is this Scav or PMC? I'm the only person you'd need to ask that of, Bob. The only person you'd need to ask that of. This is Scav. Exactly. You can't tell. She tweeted that she loves trains and Watsits, of course. But what I found funny was, it doesn't occur to me that someone would be like, I love trains, and that would be like a thing. But of course, having been to the States a lot, there are no trains. It's not a thing that they have. You know what I mean? Like, there are a couple, but it's not like here where you can get a train pretty much wherever. Which is crazy, because America was like the great railways of the 19th century. Our trains are hella reliable. I know what you're talking about. I watched a video about the New York City subway system. Oh my god, what a mess. What a mess. What a disaster. It's a huge subway network. And it's just shit. Crumbling, falling apart. Amtrak, yeah, I know about Amtrak. We also, all our rail systems are private, but yeah, I just think it's weird. I don't know if it's to do with the fact that essentially, why would you take a train when it's such a big country? But couldn't they just have bullet trains and stuff like that? So if you look up the statistics for the New York Railway, subway, I should say, it's a host of problems. A lot of the stations are falling apart. They have a lot of corrosion and stuff like that. Like, I went and looked. There's loads of pictures of the state of the stations, how old they're looking, the technology that they use for like switching and stuff was installed in like the 30s. They have difficulty telling where trains are. It's like this ancient piece of, not software, it's like electronic hardware essentially, to the point where if they want to replace parts, the company that made the parts is no longer in existence. So they have to repair them themselves, like from scratch. They have to have people on staff who know how the magic smoke goes back in the box. You know, it's like literally falling apart. The stock is very old. If you haven't been to a city with a modern metro or underground recently, you could be forgiven for thinking the New York subway is fine. It is not. I've ridden it in recent years, and it is like, it feels like you're in the Eastern Bloc. Like it's appalling. Actually, that's not even fair on the Eastern Bloc. I went to Hungary, and the subway in Budapest is stunning because it was built during the communist era. It's beautiful. London Underground, to be honest with you, people complain about it. It's fucking great. But yeah, it feels like some crumbling remnant of civilization that once was, by comparison. Turnstiles, everything. It's super shit. It's just amazing to me that New York has such a lousy subway system. But it's also very long, and it runs 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. I mean, the Jubilee line and stuff like that is, and a lot of those newer stations are like it looks like you're in a sci-fi movie. Oh, what? Rep down? That wasn't a raider. I figured he'd kill that other scav. Maybe the other scav shot him first. damn. Sorry, Bliat. I didn't mean it.
Bamelaw for 28 just resubbed for 45 months.
What do you mean he has that was not a raider. Like, you know that, right? Like neither of those guys was raiders. How goes the gym? Going alright. I had to miss Friday. Because I was feeling sick. I had a cold. So I went on Thursday and I was like saying to my trainer, I was like, God, I was fucking wiped out. Like my legs were wobbly. It was like awful. And I haven't recovered well at all. Like my muscles are still really aching. So I've obviously had a cold and everything's sort of wound down a bit. Which was a bit annoying because I was really, you know, absolutely on one. But yeah, unfortunately, had to take a stop just for a day. But it means that I won't have been since when I go on Tuesday. It will have been what, 5 days, which is annoying. I don't have any equipment of my own, so I can't like work out myself yet. Are you back to enjoying Tarkov? Yeah. I mean, they just had a wipe. So, pre-wipe, you guys saw I played the shit out of this game and got to like 100 million, 120 million rubles or whatever, and I still hadn't done half the quests in the game, but I had like Bitcoin farm going, and I'd done all that stuff. And it got to the point where I didn't care if what I lost in the rate. Like, I was just doing whatever, you know. And then I enjoyed some of the late, no, I just had one blue screen. Like, it was just in the middle of a stream, so I tweeted about it. It might happen again, but I think it was just one of those things. It happens, you know. But yeah, hasn't happened for a couple of days, so hopefully that's it. Hopefully it's just one of those things that happens. I mean, I've been playing on this all day, and it seems to... If it crashes, it crashes, but it doesn't seem to be... It's not like an every 5 minutes thing, touch wood, you know. So yeah, and then I played, you know, some of the events where, like on Reserve, all the bosses were there, and like on Labs, like Gluhar was there and stuff, so I played some of those, and then when it got to the thing where every level was covered in mist, I was done. Like, I was like, this isn't fun, and it's going to stick around for a week, and I thought, well, the wipe is clearly coming, so I just stopped playing for a bit, and then the wipe happened, and so now I'm back on. The Bitcoin farm, if you put fuel in your generator and leave it on, the Bitcoin farm generates Bitcoins. You sell the Bitcoins to Therapist and she gives you a bunch of money. They used to be linked. I don't think they still are linked, but they used to be linked to the price of Bitcoin like 100%. So the problem was when the price of Bitcoin spiked, as it did in the previous wipe, they were worth a fortune. 750,000 a Bitcoin. So I made a fortune. And then fuel was very expensive and hard to come by, and so they nerfed fuel rather than just nerf Bitcoins. But this had a bunch of corollary effects that I don't think they anticipated. Because it's not just Bitcoins that you're using the fuel for, you know what I mean? It was like insane. Like, the price of fuel was ridiculous. But so it meant making anything was expensive, which isn't cool. If the Bitcoin is a problem, adjust the Bitcoin. It was a bit like using a hammer to solve a problem that just required a very simple precision tool. You know, they were just like, fine, then fuel's expensive, that'll solve it. But of course it didn't. It was like a knee-jerk. I think it was probably the first thing that occurred to them. But it was a bad decision because it meant that manufacturing anything was impossible, which is not right. And literally fuel was nerfed to the point where you could not find it on maps. None of the places I went to for fuel, I remember it was like finding a can of fuel was like gold. Like harder to find fuel than graphics cards. All they needed to do was stop this ridiculous tying Bitcoin to the price of Bitcoin in real life. That's all they needed to do. And when they finally made that change, everything went back to normal. I don't know why it took them that long. It's a weird decision that they made. That's how you know they're a little bit crazy at Battlestate Games. I mean, honestly, the Mist event, if you like, towards the end of the last wipe, was probably the least fun event that I'd seen them come up with. I was like, oh yeah, night vision works, but nobody else can see shit. So, and it was indoors, it was everywhere. So it just meant if you didn't have night vision on, you can't really play. And the problem is, if it just cost 200k for night vision, it was a way for people to blow through money, whatever. But night vision goggles just sold out. All the things to make night vision goggles sold out. Like, it was impossible to even make them. So if you had one, it was easy mode, because people just walking around like, where is everything? It was really stupid. Yeah, labs being free was a lot of fun. That was fun. Come on, where are you Chinese lads? Maybe it's the middle of the night there. I do find in the morning you get a lot more Chinese farmers on, and they all run this room, and it's an easy kill. Because they've been told by their boss, you run in there, you unlock the door, you grab the stuff, you extract, job done. What is the difference between Scav and PMC if you can use the same gear? Your Scav doesn't have your secure container. Your Scav has random gear. You can't equip him. He's just, you get what you got. So your Scav, your next Scav run is visible. You can see what you've got. That's it. That's what you're taking in. He also spawns with random stuff in his pockets. Sometimes he'll spawn with like a lab keycard or something valuable like that. What are the chances? He was coming right there. I would say 80% of the people, when I'm watching that room, fully 80, maybe even more, do not check that cupboard. I didn't hit him once? Like literally, people just run in and just open the door. They don't even look in there. I thought I was hitting him. I feel like my gun was right on him. Obviously not, but you know, what the flip. I thought I had a cheater the other day on Interchange. Anyone that was watching the stream that morning, I was 2 floors up. I could see him through a tiny crack in a window, running away. I shot him once. He immediately turned around and started shooting exactly at my location, but he was shooting when he couldn't see me. So he was just spraying and just walked slowly to the right and lit me up. It was bizarre. It wasn't aimbot. I think he had walls. Had to be. There's no way that he could turn, looking through a building, aim exactly where I was, and then just walk out and be exactly on target. No way. It was absolutely bizarre. I was playing one time on reserve actually, and there was a guy. I ran past a window. He had no other visibility of me at all. Ran past the window and he headshot me as I ran past the window. From like dome. He did not have aim. He did not have aim. But yeah, the aim ones are awful. Like I was running past the window and I was like, BAM! I was like, I must have been in that window for half a second. There's no way a human being makes that shot. So he was just there with his gun, watching, and if anyone took bang, bang, like that. It was awful. And I think there was another hacker on another time on reserve who was running around in the open, and his gun would go, I thought it must be a raider, and I looked up for 1 second, headshot. You're just standing in the middle of where the helicopter is. Like that. It's just, where's the fun in that? There was a video on Tarkov where a guy snuck into a hacker's Discord. Like, he pretended to be, like, you know, one of them sort of thing. And he went with them on labs one time. And this guy was boasting about how, I'm going to clear labs. It's like, yeah, of course you are, dude. Like, he jumped past a doorway. A guy was in the room, and he shot him in midair. Like, what are you congratulating yourself for? If you hadn't done that, it would have been embarrassing. Fuck off, DVD player. You know what? Fuck off. It was really something. It's just knowing that those people are out there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I can imagine the kind of person they are. For some reason I imagine them as being a massive dickhead in like their little private life. Very few friends. Desperately sad. Only lives to win by whatever means. Like, their ego is so fragile. Their self-worth is so low. It's sad. Yeah, I've heard about Chinese hackers. I don't know. I think, like I said, I think it's an ego thing. I think it's a watch me own these guys. Like, I'm so clever because I've figured this out. But I mean, there's kind of a weird culture in China around copyright law, even. Where, like, you know, if you've been to China, you'll see everything's, like, ripped off. So I think it's a cultural thing. I can see your message, dude. Just at me. If you say something fucked up, you'll get banned, but there's no, you know, no harm, no foul. It's not like it's gonna affect you personally. You're welcome. Sorry, amigo. Jeez.
I'm hit!
Isn't this quite good ammo? I'm glad you found it funny. I think that's a pulled switch. Is beer net hydration? I don't think it is. think we're just going to leave. Or try to. Shit! Thought they'd pulled the button already. I could never tell. There were two of them. Hear him creeping. Here's the thing. They're fighting right up there. Whoever comes down here might be shot to bits and loaded with loot. Ergo, we should wait, because there's potential for a lot of money to be made. We haven't got, you know, this isn't like bank loot yet. I'm thinking there were two lads coming at me from the big double doors next to the D2 chamber. They shot at me, they saw me run away. They heard a nade. They might think that this other lad they're shooting is me, or they might be killing the raiders. Maybe one of them is dead, maybe one of them is left. Maybe he gets shot to bits, maybe he comes down here, maybe we kill him and take all the bank loot. That's my hope. We've got ages left. Half an hour. Food and drink is not great, not gonna lie. Also, if that other lad killed both of them, he might think, cool, I've got loads of loot now, I'm gonna go down D2. Will we kill him? Either way, a gunfight of this magnitude, some lads must have been shot up a bit. We go bap 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 and hoover up what's left with us patented rat hoover. What move is this? Hiding behind the door? You see that all the time. That's a very common spot. That's not a clip-worthy. They do that all the time. That's why I trek behind doors. got the fan on. Did you hear him? I heard him. I've got the window open, got the fan on. It was 27 here today. Rats also go in for loot. People think of us as non-loot getters. Chad say it's for a number of reasons. Number one, quite often the rat will run in and get the good loot up their butt before Chad can get it, because Chad's being all tactical and shit. Might be searching like everywhere up there. $49? Where's that? $49. That's you can't work in those conditions. That's a walkout. That's a down tools walkout. Like, that's actually perilously hot. I don't think they're allowed to make you work at that heat. I think that's actually against the law. Nobody's coming. There's no guidance in this country? No guidance for a maximum temperature? I can't believe that's true. I can't believe that's true. That's insane. How is that possible? How can that be possible? I mean, I'm not being funny, but that temperature is more dangerous than it being cold. That's insane. Yeah, you're right. There'll definitely be places where it's going to get hot and you need to be ready for that. But I don't think... I mean, I still think there should be a maximum. Also, those guys at least have some kind of safety equipment on, right? And I'm sure that there's like... they have to take breaks and... They have to sort of, you know, you're not allowed to stay in there for a certain amount of time if it's that hot. Like, there must be... I mean, if there's a... You should talk to your employer. Well done, government. Really fucking... That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Oh, it's really hot, boss. Get back to work. Conversation over. If you don't like it, fuck off and get another job. Brilliant. That's what we want. We do have a lot of cases, that's true. Not many deaths though, that's pretty good. The sniper scav's not going to shoot at me, is he? Does he shoot at everybody? I mean, I think we had like 50 deaths yesterday from COVID for that many cases. So I think the vaccine has to be working, right? I don't think 50 is subjective if you look at where we were. I know people are saying there's a chance of a mutation. I just don't think there's any way out of this if we just stay locked up forever. I just think we're... I don't know what the fuck we do. It's not a... There's no way to live. It's crazy. Like, how long are we going to stay locked down for? Years? Years and years? Come on, man. That doesn't work. Society would fucking fall apart. Too many people would go broke. And that's a huge problem in itself. People overlooking that. Going broke. All these people losing their jobs. Fucking awful. Awful. What a shit show. Of all the fucking shitty things to happen. I never expected anything like this to happen in my lifetime. I really didn't. Think like it's just everybody's absolutely fucking petrified, and rightly so. And one of the issues is I don't feel like any of the messaging from the top has been consistent, which just makes me think they don't know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? At no point do I think they've got this. They know what they're doing. No, I don't think that at all. I think they have no idea what they're doing. They're as freaked out and panicked as everybody else. They're like, fuck. What do we do? That's how it feels. The thing is, like, they kept saying we're just gonna follow the science. But some of the science has been fucking way out there as well. Do you remember when it first started and they were talking about how it can live on surfaces for up to 4 days and all this kind of stuff? And then they were like, oh no, just kidding, that's not a transmission method. Nobody's catching it off surfaces. I understand they didn't know, but why did they seem so convinced? Do you know what I mean? It's just bizarre. I don't know who they... I think if you've got a million different scientists all saying different things, of course you're going to have confusion. And I feel like at no point was there one coherent plan at all. I know that we did shit like, for example, when this all first began, everyone was like, I mean, the variant from India, they were like, we should shut the borders to people coming from anywhere that's been to India. And they were like, and they waited like 3 or 4 weeks and then they did it. Because Boris had some meeting with Modi about trade, post-Brexit trade. And he was like, well, gosh, I don't want to shut the borders to them because that's not going to look good. What a moronic thing to think. I mean, do you think he's going to go, well, we would have done a big trade deal with you that would be beneficial to both our countries, but you shut the borders because there's a global pandemic, so now it's off. Ridiculous. So we didn't shut the borders for ages. Everybody else did. We were like, nah. That's the kind of thing where I think, who was advising them? But equally, New Zealand is like, completely shut the, like, put the wall up, no one gets in, no one gets out, right? That's equally bonkers. So here's nuts. My friend's son, I talked about this the other day, my friend's son was in contact with someone who had COVID, so he had to isolate for 10 days. 10 days off school, not allowed to leave the house, 10 days. No one else in the house had to. So people said on stream the other day, I think it's just to slow it down. And I was like, okay. But then I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking, how does that slow it down? Because if that kid comes home and you're living with them, it's a child. You can't stick them up in their room and post food under the fucking door. If they isolate for 10 days, you're in that house with them for 10 days. You're going to catch it, and then you're going out. Just like the app, the track and trace thing, where it said, it would pop up and say, you've been in close contact with someone who had COVID, you have to isolate. First of all, there's no checkup that you are. The app isn't mandatory, and if I've come into contact with someone and I have to isolate, every single person that I've been in contact with would need to isolate, and every single person that they've been in contact with would need to isolate. In other words, exponential growth. If a handful of cases, the entire country has to isolate for 10 days, which is insane. That's the only way it would work. So again, it's meant to slow it, but if I'm at home, most people don't live alone. If I'm at home and I'm isolating and you're not, what's the point? It's just stupid. It was like they were desperate for something to do. I want to know what the other countries did that didn't have it as bad as us. What did they do? We should do that. What do they do in Japan? What do they do in Korea? What do they do in fucking Germany that we didn't do? And why are we so shit? What annoys me is wearing a mask. It's annoying. It's not the end of the world. If everybody could have worn one all the time outdoors, maybe this would have been a lot better. But you had so many people saying that I don't want to have to wear a mask. I mean, I've worn one every time I've been anywhere where, like, on a train or anywhere like that. And initially, when it first started, it's like, if you're outdoors, wear a mask. I did that. You see people not doing it. And you think, why aren't they being nicked or something? I don't want people getting arrested for something like that, really. But in this case, it seems crazy. Japan is still bad. Either way, what a fucking shit show, am I right? When I went to China in 2019, loads of people were wearing masks. But some people said it was for pollution. Other people said it's just a cultural thing that if you have a cold, you wear a mask. Or if you think you have a cold, if you've got a sniffle, you stick a mask on. That makes sense. I mean, those little masks aren't going to stop pollution. You'd have to wear one of those ones that I see cyclists wear sometimes, which is like proper hugging face mask with the filters on. We were just not prepared. We were not prepared for this at all, which is weird. I know that one of the first things Donald Trump did when he was in power was to shut down the CDC. He was like, what a waste of money. Gutted it. And a bunch of the experts left. Thing is, I had COVID, and it was fucking awful. And I remember thinking, if my mum had got this, which she, touch wood, God bless, she hasn't had it. If she'd got it, it probably would have been the end of her. And I feel like the fact that a lot of old people, in fact I'm pretty sure everybody over like 50 or 60 has had it, the vaccine now, because you'd be mad not to. It does give you some protection, I know, like if you look at the hospitalization and death rate compared to the number of cases, it's a lot lower. My concern is the longer that we stay locked down and people have been vaccinated, you can't rein that back in. Like, you just can't. Like, if we stayed locked down for 5 years, it's still going to be there when we unlock. I don't just think it's one of these awful things we're just going to have to live with. What can we do? You can't shut down human society around the world because we've built everything around this. You just shut it all down. It's like, well, someone has COVID, we've got to shut everything down again. So this is just here to stay. It's awful. But I hope that in the coming years they'll find some like super vaccine for it or something. It's just awful. I mean, I know people who've had funerals where no one could go. It's just fucking... I don't see, unless we completely change society, everything that we've grown up with, everything that our culture, our society has lived with, what do we do? You can't say to everybody, alright, nobody's allowed to meet in public anymore, and everybody has to wear a mask all the time, everyone's going to have to homeschool, like everything. You can't, people won't accept it. It's too much. It's too much. You've got to, we're just going to have to fucking deal with it. It's terrible. It's going to change everything. Climate change will take longer than 20 years to really shut everything down. End of the century, that's when it's really going to kick in. We'll get by. In the West, anyway. It'll be shitty, but it'll only be 2100, 2150, that literally everything just fucking grinds to a halt. What a legacy we're leaving. I think masks, if you're in an indoor setting, it just makes sense. On the underground, I mean, I've got sick from going on the tube so many times, but like I was... Someone's here.
Опачки. Ублюдок, мать твою, а ну иди сюда, говно собачье. Решил ко мне лезть.
I like the press. I guess we didn't get it. Did we not hit him when we were shooting through the... I guess we were just shooting to his right or something? We killed 2 of them? That nade killed 2 of them? Look at the time difference. 10:32, 10:40. That was a 3-man. Here's what I think happened. Our nade killed 1. The SMG blast through the gap killed the 2nd guy. And then there was a 3rd guy. Holy shit. I cannot believe how unlucky that is. God damn. That nade got someone. They'd obviously hit dorms as well. Damn, we were close, man. Close to glory. Oh shit, I'm out of Magnum Buck.
One Tree Kid be just resubbed for 6 months. I bought Tarkov 2 days ago, and I like it more than either I would rate Jim.
I didn't think you'd like it. Congratulations. Welcome to hell. No, it's not liquid cooled. I think I've got 4 case fans, and then I have a 3090, which has 3 big fucking fans on it. It's very quiet, and even running a game like this in this heat. Let's check MSA Afterburner real quick. I bet it's not even that hot. 60. So, not that bad. In this heat, that's pretty fucking good. So yeah, no, I don't have a liquid cool. I think 60 is alright. You may not have fun all the time in Tarkov, but there is nothing else like it. Could not agree more. It's, I think, I've said this before, it kind of reminds me of EVE Online. It's obviously a very different game, but the core PvP element, whereby you're killing someone, you're taking their stuff, is, there's so few games where that exists. I mean, I'm trying to think of other PvP games where you kill someone, you take their stuff. Ultima Online, EVE, this, DayZ, Rust. I can't think of many others. I didn't even have any armor on. What a beast. Scratched me right in the chops. Is there loot you can only get on certain maps? Absolutely. Absolutely. This is like DayZ except not complete shite. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The concept behind DayZ should be amazing. But it's not. Like, the idea of having a huge open world map where you can, and this is what they said it was going to be, you can build like, you know, bases and it's like persistent, and you know, loot is sort of like you either get it or you don't, you know, it's sort of like a proper that's what I'm looking for. Proper persistent world PvP. And it's just not that, is it? It's just wank. Because they made it so stupidly hard to actually do anything. And it is stupidly hard to do anything. It's like, oh, you wanted to meet up with your friends? Oh no, sorry, you're just gonna have to run around and find each other, hope for the best. Cool, yeah, that sounds like a ton of fun. Oh, you wanted to, sorry, have fun? Oh no, you're gonna spawn with no food, no water, and you're gonna spawn in the same place as everybody else. And you're just gonna have to hope that you know, get those things. Cool, that sounds awesome. You know what, let's take our stupid this thing in. Because you never know. We've got a goofy hat I can whack on here. This'll do. No. This'll do. Nope, that's what I meant, yeah. It's just fumbled it. They fumbled it so badly. What could have been a really fun game. Just made sure that it was like, oh no fun, no, what are you doing? Stop having fun. Well, I just want to meet up with my buddies. No. You don't meet up with your friends. That's not realistic. It's like, well, geez, it's not realistic that that if I die I can just push play again and I play again. If you want it to be ultra realistic, you have one life ever in the game. I mean, otherwise what's the point? Why are you trying to... people don't play games for brutal realism where if they die that's it. They've lost hours and hours of work, often to a bug. And if you want to meet up with your friends, it's like, I think I'm in so-and-so? Alright, you want to head northwest for like an hour and I'll meet up with you. I genuinely hope that game crashes and burns and nobody plays it anymore. That's my dream. Empire of Sin is nothing like my game. Nothing like my game. And I've looked it up and people are saying it's wank. And it's really not. My game would be fun and not trying to take itself seriously and playing into the usual mafia. It would be fun. Empire of Sin got some really bad reviews. I was seeing people saying like, no, it's crap. I mean, the thing with DayZ is, I remember when me and Shane used to play it 6-7 years ago, and we played it on stream, and we would just get a bunch of viewers to meet up with us. Because back then the map was much bigger, I think it was bigger, or at the very least where you spawned was all along the coast. It seemed the most recent map that I played it on, I can't remember what it's called, seems to be easier to meet up with people. Like I played with Cinny and Munt and Bob, and you could meet up. But the problem is, if you go somewhere, like the loot respawns every hour or two, right? So it's like, why have you got that mechanic? Like in this game, you're in a raid for 20 minutes, maybe, before you leave. Imagine if in this game, I'd spawn in, and I'd go to look for loot, and it had already been taken. Someone had taken it 2 hours ago. So I was just going to wait for it to respawn. I said for ages that they should have spawn tables tied to every individual. So I run into a house as a fresh spawn, I search the fridge, I search the cupboards, and there's a chance I find something. It's tied to me. Stops server hopping, it stops people spawning in and not being able to find any food or any weapons. People are into the action quicker, more fun. If you want to have rarer stuff stuck at cool places, go for it. Like long range scopes, night vision goggles, whatever. That's fine. But not struggling to find a firearm should not be something in a PvP game that has firearms. Number of times I've found ammo for guns I don't have. Guns that I don't have ammo for. And then they break and you're just like, what is this game? Horrible, horrible game design. Just awful. And it only got worse. And the fact that the guy, the main designer that quit, he said, ideally, I would like players never to bump into each other. Like, he wanted a hiking simulator. That was the joke about the game, was that it's just hiking simulator. He wanted that. He wanted to do away with being able to find cans of food or anything. His ideal version of the game, you had to farm or live off the land. What is that? Yeah, I was staggered to find that people still play that game. People will play anything. Someone's here. Came in and went out, maybe? Huh. Didn't pick up this cheese, though, did they? Or this goldy-looking chain. Please don't talk about drugs on my stream. I don't want to know what you filthy vermin are up to. Looks like a baby bell.
Tino Sugars just resubbed for 1 month.
Thank you. Hello? A lad. Oh, hello. Lower Parkston is not posh. It's alright. I think they're sort of getting towards people in Lower Parkstone think they live in sandbanks. Hey brother. Good little shootout, this. My man is not quitting. Hard to hit him at this range with this gun. Ben White went to Arsenal for 50 million quid? Are you serious? Or you can fucking have Lewis Cook back, mate. He's been shit. Permanently injured. Permanently not doing it. Should have been great.
Segfoltech just resubbed for 13 months.
Thank you.
Rock Jump Gem.
Damn, this place has been picked clean. Wow, you can see all the way to dorms from here. Oh, let's check that scab, eh? Because you never know. I heard him, but I don't see him. Above or below? Around the corner? Up on the train tracks? There he is. Oh, the Gratch. God bless you, sir. Now, do I need a key for that exit? Or is it just whether it's open? Cool. So is it the, that little inner light is on, that means it's open. I think we hit that lad, you know. I'm trying to think of the scavs we killed. The lad far over from us, we definitely tagged him. I wasn't aiming high enough to dome him, unfortunately. Honestly, if you don't have a scope on your gun in this game, some maps are just so rough. Had a barbecue today. It was great. I haven't had a barbecue in ages. We had that spell where it was just like, shit, do you remember? Brits. Non-Brits. Ha! I'm sure you guys have good weather all the time, but apart from Germany. God bless them. I hope they're alright. But we had a spell where the weather was actually good. And then it was terrible for a very long time, and now it's picked up again. The problem with this country is we hate good weather even more than we hate bad weather. We would rather the weather was shit. Otherwise, all we do is complain. Fucking hot, isn't it? Oh my god, mate. Ugh. These should be worth a pretty penny. Wow. Why are these so much? Favorite comedian? I get asked this a lot. It's a very tough question. I need to build up my expenditure with my boy Jaeger, so I'm going to sell some shit to him. But you can have some of that. You can have... What else will you buy? You can have all of these. Oh, now what was it Bob said to buy? Was it Cyclones? He said to buy Cyclone batteries. So let me see, this cost me 53. You can sell them for 51. Tracy Ullman. Oh man, my mum used to love Tracy Ullman. Fun fact, The Simpsons, for those of you I'm sure already know, first appeared on her show. She hated it. She was like, this is awful, what's this doing on my show, get it off. Oh my god. 2 Tarkolas, 5 herrings, 3 squash. Five herrings and a Tarkola, right. I miscounted. Oh my god, thank god. I am so happy right now. It didn't answer. Oh man, I couldn't name one comedian that's my favorite. I think that's impossible. I honestly couldn't name one particular comedian who I would say, yeah, that's the one. I couldn't do it. Too difficult. Too many good ones. Oh man. Is that a mag box? I will see you lot manana. Cheers for watching. Take it easy and peace out.